You spoke my name and life began. Breath filled dust and sand. Felt you in the cool of the night. Saw you in the newly made sky. And you were mine. Take me back to the garden where it all began. Take me back to the garden. We were walking hand in hand. My eyes were filled with wonder. My heart was filled with peace. Lost in the mystery, it's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden and walk with me.
Late in
you were mine. Take me back to the garden where it all began. Take me back to the garden when we were walking hand in hand. My eyes were filled with wonder, my heart was filled with peace, captured by the mystery. It's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden and dance with me. And oh, my heart grows from the place my spirit knows. It's the longing of my soul to find a place I once called home and show me the garden, a place that you've prepared. The streets of gold we'll walk on. Take me there, take me there, take me back to the garden where it all began. Take me back to the garden. We were walking hand in hand. My eyes were filled with wonder, my heart filled with peace, lost in the mystery. It's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to the garden where it all began. Take me back to the garden. We were walking hand in hand. My eyes were filled with wonder, my heart was filled with peace, captured by the mystery. It's all that I could see. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to the garden. Take me back to the garden and dance with me.
Jagged metronome of typewriter keys. A simple thought brings you to me, and I'm thankful every day. I'm so glad I found you the old-fashioned way. In a time when we want it all, everything's so fast. You write a text, no time to call. To slow down, oh, I pray. I'm so glad I found you the old-fashioned way. metronome of typewriter keys. Another page done, my soul at ease. And I'm thankful